Welcome back to My Drunk Answers. My name's Daniel Aaron Austin. Today I'm sitting on the floor in my living room because my back hurts. I wonder why that is. Yeah, so that's why my back's hurting. Also, there is a dog downstairs that keeps barking, so if you hear that, just keep that in mind. It's been a long day. Pour myself a drink because, you know, I enjoy being on this show talking to you guys. That's a healthy pour. But seriously, thank you guys for sending in questions. The questions just keep getting better. I'm really excited about talking about the Scranton Strangler. It should be a really good time. I did like 5 hours of research on it today. Also, guys, if you guys like seeing me get drunk on camera every week, go ahead and hit that like button as well as the subscribe button. Guys, we are hitting like 100 views per episode, which is pretty awesome, especially for a channel that's starting out and hasn't even hit 10 videos yet. You guys are badasses. Thank you for sending in all your questions. Thank you guys for giving me feedback. It's been a wild ride. I can't wait to see where this goes. It's going to be awesome. So thank you guys all, and let's dive into the first of the questions. Ashley Burchett Overhold asks, what's the most fun toy to ever exist? I actually did a fair bit of research on this, and it's really fun to see the evolution of toys. So let's go over some of the best toys, in my opinion, out of all of them out there. The first one, come on, Legos. Legos are badass. From seeing people build huge skyscrapers and things that fill entire rooms to dumping out a bucket of Legos in front of someone's door that has pissed them off. What? It's really cool to see all of the stuff that's going on with Legos and what just the ingenuity behind it. And I can't remember a time where I didn't know what Legos were. Connect 4. Connect 4 was one of those games that I played with my siblings, and it spurred the most anger, like more than Monopoly, more than anything else, because it was just rapid fire. Like we'd be playing and you'd see the reds get up into a diagonal or straight up and you're just getting mad. You'd look at your sibling like, don't you dare. Don't you dare! Sam, if you fucking put that last little red one in there, we're done. You're done being my brother. We're over. You son of a bitch! Space hoppers? Have you guys seen those? I'll leave a picture right up here. Space hoppers. They look as bad as they look right here. My God. Someone signed off on this thing. It's kind of like the fitness orb from The Office, but much more suggestive. I know that those little handles aren't very close together, but still all the same suggestive. The number one toy, in my opinion, nothing beats this. It's a stick. You go outside, you find a twig on the ground, you pick it up. That thing could be a lightsaber, that thing could be a spear, a sword, a wand. It is one of the most versatile things ever, and all I remember from my childhood is playing with those things and having a great time. So if you have an imagination, a stick is the most versatile toy out there, and I think you could have the most fun with it. So I'm gonna say number one, top of the list, has to be a stick. That's my answer. Let me know what your guys' favorite toys are down in the comments down below. Caleb Masters asks, between Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, who would win in a lightsaber duel? Caleb, I think it depends on whether there is studio intervention / a producer during this duel. I think that would greatly affect the outcome, and here's why. If not, George Lucas would have a tough time because it seems like George Lucas has a hard time wielding his own intellectual properties without oversight. Insert prequel joke here. So even though George Lucas created the lightsaber as we know it, it would probably be useless in his hands, just saying. This cat definitely wants you to know she's here. She's being real cute. I need to shoot this, okay? Thank you. Steven Spielberg would probably give us the most heartwarming battle ever because every time I think of duels with Steven Spielberg, I immediately think of Hook, and it would probably have some sort of line of dialogue in there that would make me absolutely tear up like this one.
I wish I had a dad like you.
But out of anything, I think the one that wins is going to be All of Us, because we get to listen to the soundtrack that John Williams would make. It would be magnificent. Jurassic Park would meet Star Wars, and boom, 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 the score. And I want it. I want to listen to that so bad. Sarah asks, would you call yourself spiritual? Not anymore. The closest I get to spirituality, though, is this weird quirk that I've developed at work whenever I'm serving tables. I walk up to them for some reason, and then I start doing this number. and I don't know what this is. I think it's from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
In the chin is the sound chakra.
Stop it. And last but not least, the main question that I spent like 5 hours researching today is going to be from Sarah Lange. She asks, is Toby the Scranton Strangler, or is it Jim? I have been watching The Office since season 5 aired, and been watching it all the way through since. Even in the bad parts, I have been watching it, and I still watch it to this day most every night, and it's something I go to sleep with, so it's ingrained in my brain. Someone else has been asking this question, and there are a few videos out there saying that Toby is a Scranton Strangler, or that Jim's a Scranton Strangler. One even asks if Dwight's a Scranton Strangler.
If you're out there, Strangler, you will get caught. By me.
I'm going to answer each of those. Everybody already hates Toby. One theory even goes as far to say that he's a Scranton Strangler because he's not in the room during the cold open where the Scranton Strangler is being chased by the police.
There it is! There it is! I saw it!
Where?
I saw it! It's gone!
But that doesn't really prove anything considering the fact that the Scranton Strangler was caught during that car chase. If Toby was a Scranton Strangler, he'd be inside the car. Also, Toby Flenderson is like the size of a paperweight, and strangling people kind of requires some physical strength, considering people are fighting back. Toby also doesn't strike me as the violent type, considering he lays down and takes most anybody's insults, and gives up most of the time whenever Michael is making fun of him. So I just don't see Toby as a Scranton Strangler. Here is an interesting thought here. Is Jim the Scranton Strangler? If it were Dexter, or a show about a serial killer just in general, like think of it that way. Jim on several occasions has said that he has nothing else to do other than, prank Dwight. And I feel like someone who has a wasted intellect would be much more likely to be a serial killer. Jim has a suaveness to him that I feel like he could get into those situations and get himself out. Jim is extremely quick-witted.
Sounds like someone's really trying to convince us that he's not the Scranton Strangler.
I think that in any situation where someone was able to think of him as the Scranton Strangler or able to identify him, Jim would be able to get out of it. He would be able to talk his way out of it because he is a quick and witty thinker. Okay, so that's why I thought Jim was a Scranton Strangler, but here is some actual evidence as to why I think he is the Scranton Strangler. In season 7, the part 2 of The Delivery, the Scranton Strangler is first mentioned in a newspaper article.
Today's paper.
Sorry, just as it was getting good, I had to boost my camera settings. But back to what I was saying. In part 2 of The Delivery, Jim and Pam are having a baby. The day before, in Delivery part 1, Jim is unaccounted for at a specific slot of time. In the middle of the episode, Jim is tearing through baby books and trying to understand the dilation minutes to whenever they should go to the hospital, and he's just freaking out. You can see him just in sheer terror. And so he disappears for a little while, and he's unaccounted for that chunk, and that's an important moment. Whenever we see Jim again, he is inside of the car looking like he is completely gone. So people could attribute that to the fact that he's stressed out since he's having a kid and he's already had like a panic attack. Or he could be coming down from the high of strangling someone in their bed and having just come back, parking in the car. Where was Jim? Who's to say? He could have just been sitting there inside the parking lot just minding his own business. Or he could be strangling someone. He's the only one accounted for in that time frame. And the next day, the newspaper article was published. It also looks like the lighting in that picture on the article was the same time that Jim was sitting inside that car. I'm not saying that Jim is the Scranton Strangler, but I'm saying that there's the strongest case for him being the Scranton Strangler out of all of them, especially considering how few times the Scranton Strangler is actually mentioned. Okay, and I'm going to go one step further here. Toby Flenderson, in my opinion, cannot be the Scranton Strangler because when he goes to the prison to meet the supposed Scranton Strangler on death row, the Scranton Strangler strangles Toby. As Taking Back Sunday would say, it takes one to know one. And I feel if you were a strangler, you'd be able to fight a fellow strangler.
Oh, please, I wish he'd come after me. I would be like,
And I would also say the person on death row, even though they can strangle someone, doesn't mean they're the Scranton Strangler because we become the monsters people make us out to be. And God knows what happens in prison. prison. So that guy on death row may or may not be the Scranton Strangler. He could have just acquired a kung fu grip on people's neck during prison, who knows? So I am going to go ahead and say again that Jim is a Scranton Strangler. Are my theories too far-fetched? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. It is so crucial to the growth of this channel for you guys to do that. It has also been awesome over the last couple months to see this channel grow. It has only been a few months, but we're almost to 100 views on each video, so that is awesome. I will see you all next week.